started with the title of psychic awareness, but I thought, no, that's not quite what I'm talking about. It is common to have people confuse these two terms and use them interchangeably, but there is a difference. I had to point this out at our last Tarot Circle meeting because even people that study something that is sort of out there on the edge of being psychic, at least, were confused about it. So I thought, well, what a great topic. So what's intuition? Let's start with that. Let's start with this joke here. I'll just let you read it because it's funnier if you figure it out. Come on, Dilbert fans. Okay, enough silliness. Oh, I thought it was funny. Intuition is that inner knowing that guides you all the time. It is the sum of all your experiences and your analyses of those experiences since you were born. And it's being used to nudge you in a certain direction. You can ignore it or not, but that's its job. Some people maintain that these experiences also include prior life experiences from past lives. It's when your thoughts tell you to call a loved one who needs to hear from you. It is that gut level feeling inside of you that warns you if you're in an unsafe place. Every experience you've ever had is encoded in your being and accessible by you. Many of these are memories of sights, feelings, smells, love, emotional associations, and other experiences. When you encounter anything, you search the entirety of your structure for information and correlation involving a similar circumstance. Intuition, let's talk about what it is and what it isn't. It's not an intellectual process. Intuition happens as an unintentional or automatic process. It's like the limbic portion of your brain, but it's not that. It is not an intellectual linear response. It bypasses intellectual analyses. Intuition is a powerful gift and tool. Life will move with more flow and grace once you trust this inner voice and knowing. One day I'm going to get a laugh out of you with my jokes. Actually, it was Dilbert's jokes. How about psychic awareness? Psychic awareness is different. Rather than being an internal navigation system, it's your external navigation system. Psychic awareness refers to information that we are provided from outside our normal terrestrial experiences. It includes information from outside entities or deceased persons. More commonly, it includes extrasensory perception or ESP capabilities that allow a person to perceive information beyond the 5 common senses. These extra senses include feelings like clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, clear hearing, or clairsentience, clear knowing, to name some of these extraordinary abilities. Here's a chart that talks about more than I've mentioned and I'm going to talk about in my short talk, but it's a constellation of things that are beyond our typical day-to-day experiences. It's input from the other. Perhaps some examples from my experiences and some from the Bible will best illustrate what psychic abilities are. I have a set of psychic gifts, some of which I can employ with some regularity, but they often seem to present themselves on their own accord and their own timing. My strength at present lies in sensitivity to certain locations and things that have happened there in the past, and in sensing or seeing emanations surrounding people. I'll give you an example of clairsentience from my experience. One time when I was reading cards for a client, she asked me to tell her about a hypothetical future love interest. This love interest didn't exist as yet. I laid out some cards, and my dialogue included the response, well, we know that he won't be a plumber. I didn't know where that came from, by the way. She asked another question about her future with someone new. I laid out another spread and again included in my reply, well, we know that he won't be a plumber. She looked shocked and said, you said that twice. How did you know my ex was a plumber? I told her that the words had just come out of me without thought and that I didn't know where they came from. An example of clairsentience and clairaudience. One time, I was driving in downtown Santa Barbara with my wife, Terry. I stopped at Cannon Perdido and State Street, driving towards Chapala. I don't think you can do that now, but then you could. A strange-looking man crossed the street in front of us and looked at me. I instantly knew that he had killed someone in the past. I heard the words, I killed, come from him. His look changed as I heard this, and I realized that he knew that I was aware of his act. He stopped and gave me a very strange grin, and then kept walking. Terry asked me what was wrong as I had become very tense and was sweating. I told her that I had got a psychic hit, that the man had killed someone, and that he knew that I knew. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I've got other examples, but these will suffice for here. For examples of information about coming from outside entities, let's consider some passages from the Bible about interactions with angels. In almost every case, the first reaction is fear. From Judges 6. And the angel of God said to him, take the meat and the unleavened cakes and put them on this rock and pour broth over them. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of the staff that was in his hand and touched the meat and unleavened cakes. And fire sprang out from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened cakes. And the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. Then Gideon perceived that he was the angel of the Lord. And Gideon said, oh, alas! Oh, Lord God, for now I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face. But the Lord said to him, peace be to you. Do not fear, you shall not die. And in Luke 1, in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel, one of the few angels that's actually mentioned by name in the Bible, there's only 3, was sent from God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth. Perhaps you've heard this story. To a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. And he came to her and said, greetings, so favored one, the Lord is with you. But she was greatly troubled at the saying and tried to discern what sort of greeting this might be. And the angel said to her, do not be afraid, Mary, because she was, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. Last one, Matthew 28. Now, after the Sabbath, towards the dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards trembled and became like dead men. But the angel said to the woman, do not be afraid. For I know that you see Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. That's a great picture. That's John Edwards. I've seen John Edwards, the renowned psychic medium, at in-person presentations twice. Once in San Diego, once in San Luis Obispo, by the way, Joni, who's up there. I remember when he described the development of his psychic gifts having to do with mediumship as a jumbled mess in the beginning, with the repeated appearance of certain objects that he could not interpret. He said that over time, he got progressively better at understanding their meanings in the context of the client and their questions. One can learn to better understand and develop psychic awareness. That when he said that, that actually made me feel quite good because, like I said, oftentimes what happens to me is I will see things, hear things, feel things. I don't have a clue what they mean, but I'm getting better. Psychic abilities draw from information outside of ourselves as opposed to intuition, which draws from inside ourselves. The psychic experience is always tinged with the quote other, end quote, being outside of common worldly experiences. A common emotion reaction is fear, like I outlined in the biblical references. Sometimes the experience is relatively common and emotionally benign, and sometimes it is terrifying and seemingly inexplicable. And engaging, listen, this is important, and engaging in any deliberate psychic practice, one is well advised to invoke protection and blessings from the divine for one's person and activities, so that the outcomes are always for the greater good and only involve benign, loving influences.